This morning, Russians lining up to flee the nation as Vladimir Putin intensifies his war mobilization against Ukraine. Meantime, Russian forces have been driven out of the newly liberated city of Kupiansk in Ukraine. The echo, though, of dangerous shelling nearby remains, and the city, well, it may be free of the Russians, is far from safe, as CNN's Ben Wiedemann reports now from the front lines.
For a few loaves of bread, the residents of Kupiansk risk their lives. Ukrainian forces retook the city about 2 weeks ago, but the fighting is far from over. Yulia describes it in one word: intense. That's the echo of cluster bombs falling not far away. Sometimes I'm scared, says Danilo, over the sound of nearby shelling. Sometimes I don't care. These are the few people left in Kupiansk. This city, even though theoretically the Russians have left, the Russians are just across the river. And in fact, according to the soldiers here, there are still Russians inside the Ukrainian-controlled part of the city. Russian forces took control of Kupiansk with little fighting in the first days of the war. It served as the administrative center for the Russian-occupied part of the Kharkiv region. Pro-Russian sympathies linger on here. The Russians paid salaries and pensions, and the recent Ukrainian counteroffensive turned the city into a war zone, sparking resentment against both sides. They're one and the same, says Yevgeny. The mood of the population is shocked. It's too early and too dangerous to begin clearing away the rubble. Wreckage still scattered in the streets. Okay. Basically, there's a fairly constant thud of incoming and outgoing artillery and rocket fire here. An hour's drive away in the town of Izium, no shelling, but shell shock still shows on the faces of people waiting for food. The fighting has moved on. The scars it left, deep. They hit my home, says Lyudmila. War spares no one, adds Katerina. The local fire station has become a warehouse for supplies donated by a town near Kyiv. In her grandfather's arms, Alina recalls intense bombing. It killed our dog. It hit the roof. We were hiding in the basement, she says. Back in Kupiansk, a tank rumbles toward the front. The battle rages on.
And our thanks to Ben Wiedemann for that report.
3 of Edith and Sebastian's 4 children will one day go blind. Mia, Colin and Laurent have been diagnosed with a rare condition called retinitis pigmentosa, which is a degenerative genetic disease.
What happens is the cell in their retina slowly dies, and they're going to lose their eyesight from the outside to the inside.
Specialists suggested to give them visual memories from books.
I said to myself, I'm going to not show her in a book. I'm going to take her to see a real elephant and giraffe.
Edith and Sebastian decided to go on a year-long world tour for the children to savour as many sights as possible.
Thinking about it, we said we might as well go all in and show them the world, show them how beautiful the world is, to just fill their visual memory with as much beautiful thing as we can.
They decided to take basic transport and accommodation to keep costs down and make the children more resilient.
Yes, we want to fill their visual memory, but also we want our kids to become a little more resilient, because throughout their life, they're going to need to have resilience. I don't want them to see what's happening to them as a curse or as something terrible. I want them to see that this is their path in life, and they have great challenge, but they have all the tools within them to face those challenges.
So far, they have been to 6 countries across 3 continents.
My favorite moment was sleeping on a train.
My favorite moment on the trip was horseback riding in Mongolia.
My favorite moment was when we played in the waves in Bali.
My favorite moment was my birthday because I rode in a hot air balloon.
Je suis allée dans une montgolfière.
T'as aimé ça, la montgolfière?
Right before we were coming on the air, Edward Snowden, we found out, is now a Russian citizen. President Vladimir Putin signing a decree today granting that citizenship to Snowden, the former NSA contractor behind what a House investigation found to be the most damaging leak, they said, of classified information in this country's history. Snowden had been in exile in Russia for 9 years, with the State Department spokesperson saying today he's still a U.S. citizen, too, they believe, while making this point about Snowden's new Russian citizenship. Watch.
Mr. Snowden should return to the United States, where he should face justice as any other American citizen would. Perhaps the only thing that has changed is that as a result of his Russian citizenship, apparently now he may well be conscripted to fight in Russia's war in Ukraine.
NBC's Priscilla Thompson is live with us now from London. Priscilla, you know, Snowden's lawyer, I think, is knocking that down, right? Basically saying, no, he's not going to get called up to fight. But this idea of citizenship is a significant one for Snowden.
Right. Snowden's attorney is saying that he's not going to be called up to fight because he doesn't have any previous military experience in Russia. And so they don't view that as an issue for him. And that's according to a statement that is being reported by Russian state media. And Snowden, for his part, has said that he would not denounce his U.S. citizenship. So the expectation is that he would have dual citizenship in both the U.S. and Russia. But he has said previously that having this Russian citizenship would allow him to be able to cross borders more freely with his wife and also his young son who was born in Russia. He tweeted about this a few years ago, writing, "After years of separation from our parents, my wife and I have no desire to be separated from our son. That's why in this era of pandemics and closed borders, we're applying for dual U.S.-Russian citizenship," adding, "Lindsay and I will remain Americans, raising our son with all the values of the America we love, including the freedom to speak his mind. And I look forward to the day I can return to the States so the whole family can be reunited." And Snowden tweeted that back in 2020 whenever he was granted permanent residency in Russia. And that was also the time that he announced he would seek full Russian citizenship. But as you mentioned, he fled the United States 9 years ago. This comes 9 years after all of this began to unfold, but he is still a wanted man here in the United States. Hallie?
Some experts are predicting another surge in COVID-19 cases here in the U.S. this fall. The CDC is tracking 3 new COVID strains spreading nationwide.
Joining us now with more on this is Dr. Stanley Perlman. He is a professor of microbiology and immunology at the University of Iowa. Thanks for joining us, Professor. So here we go. 3 new variants of COVID now make up nearly 1 in 5 new infections nationwide. What do we need to know?
Well, we know that these are versions of the variants that are circulating now. Right now, the most common variant is this BA5, which is not one of the 3 that you have listed. And these others are variations on BA5 and BA2, which was an earlier version. The virus is changing, we know, both to infect people better and also in response to the immune responses that so many humans now have against the virus. So we will see these changes. They so far haven't resulted in increased numbers of hospitalizations or deaths. but we know that these variants don't invariably have to become weaker. So we have to pay attention.
So the World Health Organization has said that they are struggling to identify and track new COVID variants as testing and surveillance is rolled back in many countries. So how is at-home testing impacting our ability to track these new variants?
Yes, so this is, I think, an important issue, because what's happening, people are testing at home, and if they're positive, most people will then follow the rules and stay home for a certain number of days and then wear a mask for a certain number more days, but they don't necessarily report it to a health authority. Certainly if the test is done by a state hygienic laboratory, then the testing would be more likely to be in the general population. But even there's not necessarily sequencing attached to the testing. So yes, as we become more, I don't like to use the word comfortable, but I will say comfortable with the pandemic, we're doing less testing and we're doing less sequencing. But even though our facilities for sequencing are very, very good now.
Well, it certainly seems like many people are letting down their guard. You were traveling recently, Vlad, and you were commenting on the number of people who are wearing masks. And I thought to myself, hardly anyone wears masks anywhere that I go. I couldn't even.
Yeah.
You had more people wearing masks than
when I was
do.
in South Korea just 2 or 3 weeks ago. Everybody is masked up, even when they're outdoors.
Yeah.
And then I was in the UK to cover the Queen's funeral, and very few people were wearing masks,
I still see
even indoors.
Signs up at certain our local stores that ask you to wear a mask, but no one's doing it. Not even the people working there, really. Yeah. So which brings me to this point. You know what the president said? I think it was last week or so. That the pandemic is over, and it seems like a lot of people are going with that. But
even though the White House walked it back,
White House did walk it back. But what's your take on this? Should we be more on guard this winter?
I think that we are not finished with the pandemic. So whether we have to be more on guard, if that's the right word, I'm not sure. But there's still we still have 400 deaths or so, or 350 deaths a day from this virus. And we think it's going to get worse over the winter, plus or minus new variants. The people who are dying, we think, are people who either haven't been vaccinated or people who have problems with their immune function, so they can't handle the virus very well. But this is a lot of people still dying, and this is still a major cause of death in the United States.
All right, Dr. Perlman, as always, thank you very much, sir. Great to have you.
Thank you.